you very much. They are beautiful, though.
You're
So
welcome.
I want to talk tonight about Juice Plus and my experience and how I came to even wanting to consider Juice Plus. And so, because I have to let you know that when I was introduced to Juice Plus, I filed the information away for 2 years. Now, I filed it away knowing, and this is the absurd part, that we have a health crisis here in America. I just saw an article from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, my governing body as a registered dietitian, November 30th. This is the 3rd year in a row that the U.S. life expectancy is down. And we know that it's tied to nutrition. So here's the crazy thing. I mean, the reality of our food supply is that we got a lot of issues. I mean, look at the recent E. coli scare. 11 states and Canada were affected by tainted romaine lettuce. So we can't even be sure that what we're eating is going to be safe for us. And that's not even pointing out the fact that there are pesticides. This is kind of interesting to know. 70 to 85% of fruits and vegetables have some kind of pesticide residue. Babies born in the United States have detectable pesticide levels in their blood. So this stuff is staying with us. We are having a food supply that is not ideal for our vitality. And the CDC points out, the Centers for Disease Control points out, that 1 in 10 U.S. adults get the recommended, this is 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So now, here's the thing. The recommended amount of fruits and vegetables is actually 7 to 13. But the CDC is saying, look, at least we know that 1 in 10% of us is getting 5 servings. So let's just give everybody a big cheer for that. That's like saying you got a C-. I think we're going to take you to Hawaii for that. I mean, this is not enough. It's not enough to do things on a minimal basis. There was an interesting study. It's actually a landmark study done in 2014 by the USDA, and it was published in the Journal of American Clinical Nutrition. 43 vegetables and fruits were found to have significant declines in 6 nutrients. Those are protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, riboflavin, and ascorbic acid. And don't be too impressed. I'm actually reading the list here. I can't remember that. But between 1950 and 1999, there's been a decline, and we continue to see declines due to soil depletion and just not taking care of our land. So the reality of life is that we have a tendency to eat the same foods. There was a great symposium on what America is eating, and it was determined that we eat the same 10 foods all of the time. I'm kind of guilty of that myself. I think I've had the same breakfast almost every day for over a year. So I don't know, maybe I'm odd. I don't think I am. A lot of people will eat the same breakfast, the same lunch. So ask yourself that question. And the reality is that we're really looking for quick solutions. So the average American eats more than 4 commercially prepared meals per week. The CDC also says that 1 in 3 adults eat fast food on any given day, 33% on any given day. And the obesity epidemic, the cancer epidemic, continues to escalate. So I know all that, and I knew all that, and yet I still was very hesitant to think that Juice Plus could make a difference, to think that it was anything special or a solution at all. Why? I had to really think about that. Why was I rejecting Juice Plus? And I realized that it came down to my core belief. You see, my core belief as a registered dietitian is that we eat food. That's what we're supposed to do. Not take a lot of pills. We're just supposed to eat food. And so my mission became to discount Juice Plus. I was going to find something wrong. So the first thing I did was I looked at all the research that Juice Plus had shown to be published. And I compared all of that. I actually cross-referenced it with the National Library of Medicine. And those of you who are watching right now know that that's where healthcare professionals go to get our standards of care, our protocol, based on the research. And I was so upset when I saw that every single article checked out, and that it wasn't Juice Plus University that was actually conducting these research studies. It was major universities around the world. The next thing that I really thought I could get this company on was bioavailability. After all, we certainly know stories where people taking multivitamins and all different kinds of supplements, that they end up just having really expensive urine, or they have some interesting colors showing up in their commode. And I thought this was going to be no different. But when I saw that there were more than 19 studies showing that Juice Plus was bioavailable in the body, and that biomarkers, physiological biomarkers of the various plant chemicals were actually elevated in the bloodstream. Darn, there goes that one. Now what am I going to do? Well, okay, let me look at the label. Now, if you've taken a multivitamin, you know that the orientation is you're going to look and you're going to see a number of nutrients. Well, you look on that Juice Plus bottle and you're only going to see 4 nutrients. It's pretty pathetic, really. 2 things. First, as a registered dietitian, I did have to admit I was pretty impressed that it had a food label on it, just like a can of peas, and not a dietary supplement facts panel. That meant that it truly was whole food, and it wasn't manufactured by somebody in a lab and just isolated nutrients put, shoved together in a tablet or capsule. But the other thing that really got me upset was that knowing that the label was not that impressive, I thought, well, there you go. Until I tapped into my own knowledge base, you see, I was actually slated as one of the potential spokesperson for Dr. Andrew Weil. At the time, he was the big guru of nutrition. He was what Dr. Oz is now. For those of you, I'm sure you know who Dr. Oz is. And so Dr. Andrew Weil was putting together a supplement line, and the company was looking for a spokesperson. So I was one of 3 who was slated to potentially take that job many years ago. And because of that, I knew everything about the dietary supplement industry. And darn it, I knew so much to realize that a food label, the requirement is that you only have a minimal amount on. So the government says, look, as long as you meet the minimal requirements of these particular, in other words, the nutrients have to be listed, only a minimal number of nutrients have to be listed, that there's no reason to list out all of the nutrients. And quite frankly, you can't, because there are thousands of nutrients in plants. That's the key difference. So doggone it, I thought there's only one other thing that I can do because I'm running out of options here. So I got on a plane and I flew to the encapsulation plant in California, and I demanded sight unseen that I wanted the latest assay to show that the quality assurance was actually there, that there were no pesticides, chemicals, contaminants, adulterations of any kind. And that was what was on the label was in the product. The quality assurance employee turned around, went to a file, and said, here you go. This was just done a half hour ago. Well, so what am I going to do with that, right? At this point, I'm going to stop and say, you might be asking yourself, why would I go through all of that when I could just reject Juice Plus? I was afraid that I was going to be wrong. I was afraid to be wrong. My patients count on me to do the right thing, to make sure that things are science-based, and that I give recommendations that are high quality and safe. And if I was missing something, I better find out fast. That's why I went through all of that. The reality is there's this whole psychology behind changing your core belief. And it really involves three things. It involves being aware that there's an issue in the first place, being aware, being open to learn. So you got to have an open mind, and you got to have to be in a discovery mode. And you have to have repeated exposure. When you think about as a kid, how you learn and how you continue to integrate that knowledge that you're learning, it is through repeated exposure year after year after year. So for me, it was a need that prompted me to want to change my core belief. I had a head and neck cancer patient who was being fed with a feeding tube. And just at that time, I was also asked by a national organization to write an article on nutrition support for head and neck cancer patients. So this all came together at the same time, very beautifully, I might add. And they wanted me to do it on malnutrition. And I said, oh, that's so boring. Everybody does that. Let me look into something novel for head and neck cancer patients. And I discovered, wow, there are different plant chemicals that can really impact the cancer process. This changed the trajectory of my entire practice. I read, for example, that you can take a green tea bag that has been steeped and cooled and put it inside the mouth of individuals who have head and neck cancer who can't swallow, and they can transfer plant chemicals from that bag into their mucosa, into their cheek area, and that will be absorbed, and that's a huge cancer fighter. Wow, there had to be more. I thought there had to be more. And how am I going to get all those plant chemicals into this guy who's being fed with a tube? And that's when I pulled what I call my juicy juice stuff out of the file, took a look, saw there was research, did all my due diligence, and realized this was a novel solution. I started integrating Juice Plus into my practice, and it made a big difference in how people recovered, how they went through treatment, their energy level. And I didn't even think about it for myself, but I also got started on Juice Plus. I'm a registered dietitian. I eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, right? No, I don't. And I have autoimmune issues since my early 20s. And I just thought, well, I'm rocking along. This is the best I'm ever going to feel. But the difference, it's the two huge differences for me, and this is my personal story, is that I went from somebody who was on antibiotics for probably 15 years before I really knew better, 16 years antibiotic free, and taking Juice Plus for 16 years. The second thing is that I went from somebody who had bad enough knee pain where I couldn't even jog, and now I run half marathons all these years later. So it is just amazing what Juice Plus can do, what whole food nutrition can do for the body if you allow the body to get enough of that in a good variety. And I got to tell you, the research was so solid, anywhere from cardiovascular health, gum health, immune system, exercise-induced oxidative stress, muscle recovery, on and on and on. It just almost becomes a no-brainer. And here was the kicker for me. I would always pride myself when I would get responses from my patients that when good things would happen. So this is pre-Juice Plus now. And I was so fortunate, and I'd get cards and letters and emails, and I would put everything in a file, and when I had a tough day, I'd open up that file and look and say, yes, Kim, you're doing good things. Keep going for it, right? So maybe 15 years of practice, and I had a file about inch and a half thick. It was a beautiful file. Within 5 years of sharing Juice Plus, a second file had grown over 3 inches deep. That's right. The number of responses I got back were so much more. Because as I said, when you give your body something, it begins to respond. And that's what people were seeing. And they were saying, thank you. And I became a hero. And that's why I do what I do. I love knowing every day I get to wake up and I get to be a hero to somebody. And that kind of leads me to talking about why I joined the mission. A bigger picture here. I mean, the reality is that I'm one person, I'm one practitioner. And so I'm not going to be as impactful as if there were a group effort. Now I have to admit I had some hang-ups I had to work through. So the reluctant RD is absolutely back again. And I didn't want that icky feeling of being a salesperson. And I'll never forget, I had an oncology nurse stop me one day and she said, I have a friend whose husband has stomach cancer. The tumor is growing in his stomach. I really want to share Juice Plus, but I don't want to have that icky feeling in my own gut, like I'm being a salesperson when I bring it up to them. And I said to her, well, let me ask you this question. Would you rather have him continue to have a tumor in his stomach or you to have an icky feeling in yours? Because the reality is when we care more about ourselves and how we feel, we're kind of missing the point. This is about how we can educate. And that's what I feel I am. I'm an educator of options. Helping people understand there might be something for them and would they be open to taking a look. And when I shirk that responsibility, and I'm not doing what I was called to do, right? We all want to help people in the end. So I was also really nervous about what my colleagues would think. And it was really kind of, again, fortuitous that my office manager at the time came into work and said, Dr. Kim, I think you really better rethink your sharing Juice Plus. And I said, well, why would you say that? And she said, well, I just saw online that somebody had put you in as a rotten tomato. And I said, a rotten tomato, what's that? And she said, well, a rotten tomato is a website where they will put in this particular case, they had a list of people who they felt were rotten tomatoes in the world and doing bad things. And it was Dr. Kim Dalzell because she shares Juice Plus. I'm telling you, this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because I thought about it. And for a moment, I just about got sick. I felt tight. I couldn't breathe. You can imagine. It's like you're being sucker punched, right? And then I said to her, wait just a minute. I don't care who wrote that. I know that I'm making a difference. My patients and my neighbors and my friends and my family tell me I'm making a difference. I know I'm doing the right thing. I know I've done my due diligence. And I'm not going to spend time caring about what people think when I need to step up and do the right thing. And that gave me so much power. And I realized, yes, I am in the right place. I am doing the right thing. Why would I care or want to take advice about what I should do in my life from people who don't even want to care about other people? That's just not how I want to live. So I just don't take advice from people who aren't leading the kind of life that I want to live. Makes sense, right? I also had a big solo practitioner mindset. So I had no desire at all to build the team. And because that's one of the great advantages of this company, that we can build a team and work together on something to help our communities get healthier. And I remember one of my cancer patients who was living in another state, she called me one day and she said, you know, this Juice Plus has really made a difference for me. I would like to share it in my community. And I said, oh, are you sure? Because I realized I was going to have to step up and help her. And that was not my intention. I just wanted to get people healthy on Juice Plus and call it a day. That's what I was supposed to be doing. But she was so adamant and so passionate. So I said, yes, I will help you. And a few years down the road, she once again called me and said, with my last Juice Plus check, I paid off my cancer treatment bill. And then I thought, wow, I just realized there's another way that I can help people. The reality is that so many people who are ill have such dramatic medical bills. My daughter actually she's up at college and she went to the emergency room because she was really sick, like twice in a row. Yes, she had stopped taking her Juice Plus. And, but hey, I'm not going to go there with her right yet. But the point is that her bill came back at $8,000. So imagine medical cancer treatment bills, and how wonderful to know that that stress can be reduced by individuals who want to help others get healthier. So the income of Juice Plus from sharing Juice Plus, just like the income that I get when I sell my book or the income I get when I sell my consultation services, these are all things that help me make a living. I bet those of you watching have a job where you make a living at that too, right? So this is how I make a living. And it helped afford me as a professional not only to continue to help people with nutrition, but also began to leave the corporate hospital environment, start my own practice, and be home for my kids when they were growing up in middle school and at the beginning of high school. And those of you who are moms know that is another really critical time. And I was able to be there for all the good times and for some of the not so good times. And that was really important. So many people say, look, I'm not in this for the money. And that may be the case. A lot of people join our mission for the income. A lot of people join our mission for the community. I would like to suggest that you join the mission for the lifestyle, Because with a lifestyle of abundance, of time abundance, of financial abundance, of health abundance, you are able to impact the lives. And you can slow down enough to really help people, to really listen to people, to really go that extra step that most people can't do because they're so busy trying to make a living instead of a life. So it was so interesting as I was preparing for this evening and as I get ready to close, I ran across a document that I had typed out back in 2009, right before I hit National Marketing Director. And I've not seen this since 2009. And I'm just going to read very quickly. It's actually 30 reasons why I'm proud to be in the Juice Plus business. I'm only going to read 10 really quickly here. So 1, I feel like I have a family of like-minded people. 2, I get to make a homemade dinner every night for my family. 3, I don't have to work as hard as I used to. 4, I am personally growing. 5, I have been exposed to different kinds of people and I'm learning acceptance of all. 6, I'm finding active balance in my life at all times. 7, I'm getting people healthier without turning their world upside down. 8, I get to meet and be around very successful people. 9, my daughter is really proud of what I'm accomplishing. And 10, I like the idea of hope on an ongoing basis. So tonight, maybe you've learned something new. Maybe it's just been reinforced. But I want to encourage you. Don't stop here. Explore, ask questions, ask more questions, because Juice Plus has been a game changer for the health of those people that I care about the most, and a game changer for my life and my family's life. Perhaps Juice Plus will be a game changer for you too. Thank you.
Awesome, Kim. Well, thank you so much. And I actually just want to say a couple words. I was at an event in Cary, North Carolina when Kim Dalzell came to speak. And I had no idea what I was attending, but I saw your heart, Kim, and just hearing your words right now, those top 10, and I would love to see what the other 20 are, because I could check every single one of those top 10, and I am just forever grateful that you came to our community, because if I would not have heard those words, and to know that our family of 3 children who are now 22, 20, and 17, all athletes, nobody eats enough fruits and vegetables. I knew we needed this, and the lives that I've impacted. My husband's a cancer doctor, because of you. So I mean, it's hundreds, maybe thousands, right? And it will just continue to grow. I just want to thank you so much for being vulnerable to share your story about being a reluctant registered dietitian tonight. And if you know Kim, if you've ever heard her speak, or if you ever have an opportunity to hear her speak, just go, because she's not only so smart, but so sincere and funny, and just an amazing friend. So thank you so much for being on tonight, Kim. And thank you all for joining us for the Reluctant RD. Thank you.